So now we come to our main guests today, David Tenenbaum and Paul Stewart. David is the founder of Melbourne Books, the publisher of Paul's memoir, All the Rage. And the book, incidentally, is a bestseller. I was down at St Kilda Library last Friday and the guy said, well, we've got the book, but you'll be number 5 on the waiting list. So, hooray, a bestseller. And since David is here today, he's been so generous, and we will be selling the books $5 cheaper than Readings, okay? So, and you get a free signature, yes? If Paul loves the difference. Now, you might wonder why our office, the West Papuan office, is launching this memoir, which is obviously more about East Timor than West Papua, principally because it was the murder of Paul's brother Tony in East Timor in 1975 that set Paul's life on the trajectory that All the Rage records. However, the memoir, which is quite thick, how many pages? Thousands. Captures a time when we had a very pernicious Prime Minister, John Howard, who sent foreign affairs officials to all the major media editors recommending they do not report on West Papua. So while Paul remained frontman in Australia for East Timor, he also became a media advisor for the very few activists in Melbourne who wanted to broadcast West Papua's agenda. So this is not very big in the book because media don't normally write about themselves. So I'm going to just show you 5 photos where Paul was instrumental in getting West Papua's agenda up in 2000 to 2006, when we had no one and everyone, it seemed, was against us, and there were about 5 activists. So Paul clearly inspired these photos. You will pick that up when you see them. And their publication was crucial. So first slide is, okay, he said, no one, not even the Herald Sun, is going to report on West Papua. This is in 2000, unless you do something wild. So we went bourgeois and bought in 2 gold Ferraris to publicise a memorandum of understanding with Australian trade unions. And that was clearly good enough for the Herald Sun. So next one is, this is Paul's letter. We're moving along. Paul's advice was, mate, no one cares if all the churches are joining all the unions to sign an MOU with West Papua in Parliament House. Go home and get Jacob's pig and I'll sort the rest. So this was in The Age, and with a lovely article by his friend Royal Abbott. 12 months later, so now we're up to 2002, and we're still sort of so far out in the margins. I'll tell you, it's a marginal story that Father Hamilton told me quite a while ago. He said, when I met him 25 years ago, go to the margins and bring them in. So this is happening, Father, but at a very slow pace, because now we're up to 2002, and RMIT copped a real beating for appointing Jacob as a specialist scholar on Indonesia and West Papua. And there was an email that went around to every secondary institution in Indonesia, advising them very clearly not to send their students to RMIT. So Paul was on hand to make sure the Herald Sun and also his friend at the Australian recorded the occasions. 12 months later, it's now 2003, and David Bridie is organising this amazing concert. But in truth, he only was selling 200 tickets, and there was 3 days to go. Then, inexplicably, Prime Minister Howard banned ABC Triple J from recording it, and the next day the place was booked out, 2,500 tickets sold. So I don't know why Howard thought he could take on all these artists. There was Paul, there was Gil Santos is here today with the Dilly All Stars, and we even had a Jew, John Saffron, dressed up as a pig performing Flick Flick Pig with the All Saints Anglican Church all-male choir. So that was a great concert. So finally, this is the last one. Painters and Dockers at the Dilly All Stars played a gig to welcome Australia's first large-scale migration of West Papuans in decades, 43 of them. It was really a terrible moment for Howard, and the only way he was able to mollify the Indonesian president who recalled his ambassador for the first time in history, was to sign the infamous Lombok Treaty, and many of you know about that. So Paul has worked ever since with one of these asylum seekers, who's now an Australian citizen, Jeffrey Jikwa, touring schools, working for the Jesuits' Voice program, and talking about West Papua and East Timor. So a big welcome for Paul Stewart and David Tenenbaum.